All right, everybody, thanks for joining us today for the fourth episode of the Point Gremlins podcast. My name is Alex, otherwise known as Delirium, and joined with me today is James, otherwise known as Jonas the Red, and a special guest this week as well. We have Donnie, otherwise known as TheMilkMan.
Oh, thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. And this week we had a pretty big weekend we're coming off of, so we've got a lot of tournament things to talk about today, as well as we will go over the 7-day leaderboard at the end. Donnie's joining us today as a third voice from another captain. But leading right off into the first topic we've got today is the tournament happened on Saturday, and we had 11 teams, and we've got the placements for the top four.
Yeah, so obviously we all know who came in first there. That was Deathwish 2.0, followed by Zach's team, also known as the Merciless Executioners. Third place was your team, I believe, right, Royalty?
Yep.
Now, I don't remember who came in fourth, and I'm willing to take a guess, but I don't want to take a stab on it. Does anyone know who came in fourth there?
It was Fern's team, the Dire Killers.
Actually, that was my guess. I'm glad I had that right in my head, but I didn't want a chance of making a mistake there. So now, after the tournament was over, there was a meeting that I'll put on screen here. I guess I won't put it on screen live, but I'll put it on screen in post, is that we had some afterwards like rewards given out to each of the teams, and there was some voting for player MVP, some votes for most kills per KDR and stuff, highest kill streak, most score, I believe, were all those stats. Does that sound right?
I believe it was score, accuracy, KDR, and then MVP.
You happen to remember who won all those? I know Zach won the majority of them. Good for him.
I know accuracy and KDR went to Zach. Score, I think, went to Matthew. And did Zach get the vote too?
Zach did get the vote. I
Yes.
wanted to vote for Zach, but I wasn't allowed to vote.
And so I think the Watson boys took home all of them.
Yeah, there was a tie for kill streak, though. Is that right?
Yes, with Strika and Junior.
Good for them.
Oh, maybe that's the one that Junior got, because he only got one. So maybe that was the only one he got.
I believe watching it in the moment, it was a tie for it, and then Jeremy didn't want to give another one to his kid. So I'm like, we'll owe you it later, whatever. Give it to Strika for now, since we have him here, right? It's easier to give it to Junior later, since they live it together, right? So I'm glad Strika actually got to carry away the actual red envelope.
Yeah, and there was nothing for high kills. No, the highest kills, or the most kills, I was robbed.
Most kills would have went to you if there was a stat, you're saying?
Yep, most kills was me. I was the only one above 100.
How many kills did you get?
I think 103.
Okay. Big stats there. I don't know what the total amount of like earnings or net gain for each of the teams was. I believe it wasn't like a huge amount. I think winning this tournament here was more about clout or boasting you won or got the points there.
It was a decent chunk of change. I mean, first place was $150 to each player. Second place was, I think, just over the tournament entry, so it was $350.
Yeah, 75 per person.
Yeah, so that's just over the tournament entry. And then third place got a free session and a shirt, so that's just under the tournament entry.
Cool. Does the fourth place get anything for that or no? It just happened to be the last place.
Yeah, they just get a whole nothing.
Oh man. Well, good job, fourth place. Good job, Fern's team. You guys did awesome, anyways. So as you guys saw, if you guys were actually physically there, you guys saw me and Prowler doing some casting as well. That was very, very fun to do, and I definitely want to do it again next week. But the thing is that, as you guys could tell, live during the stream, I got a bunch of people pull me aside over and over again saying that the stream wasn't working, it's not very laggy, it's garbage. Like, well, absolutely, I agree with all of you. Lag-wise, the stream was unwatchable. Audio wise, it was okay at best. I would probably in the future want to keep people further away so the gain wasn't exploding. Every single time the announcer or like the spectators spoke at all or like yelled a bit too loudly, it was just the mic peaks and it's unusable anymore. Exciting sometimes, sure, but it sucked otherwise.
Oh, I'm sure. I was standing below, like just below the mic, basically during UBL, just outside of Mansion, and I was just screaming callouts, and I'm sure it was peaking there as well.
Actually, no, that wasn't your problem at all. No, it was just when, like for example, if Woodland was really loud as always, right? And so if he's right behind us, screaming for whatever team he was passionate about the moment, any loudness that was like kind of near the mic was, it was just absolutely useless. The thing is though, I could hear a lot of the callouts going on in the field, and that was really good to hear over the microphone. It made it much more exciting that way, and I want that again. But I just want to be able to play with the gain a bit more on the microphone for next year. So next year, I believe they're going to have a set up in a different room and record it from there, and I'll be able to pull people aside a bit more.
That would be awesome. I know I talked to you and Prowler a little bit, but I don't know if any of that saved or if any of it if it's lost media.
Yeah, it's lost. A lot of it's lost to the sands of time. But if you look on the video files for this channel, there's 4 clips. All right, there's one right at the beginning of Team Deathmatch. So I caught the beginning of the tournament, but like the video is just useless. But the audio is okay, right? You can hear me talking about. I believe that was Team Blindfire versus Deathwish, unless I'm mistaken. And then we have another game which is like 12 minutes long. More Team Deathmatch stuff. We get some more Rush gameplay. That's about 18 minutes long, and finally a 6-second clip near the end of Supply Grab. I was like, man, after a while, like getting our voices absolutely annihilated by it, and it wasn't recording a whole lot of it. We just ended up saying screw it. So I focus more on recording stuff with my GoPro instead.
Yeah, hopefully you got some good footage there. I know that there was actually, I know the bald guy was recording too when he was playing. So I wonder if that footage is out there as well.
Somewhere,
cool yeah. Probably pretty cool to look at that.
Maybe I can get someone to actually record with my GoPro next year. That'd be really cool, but I don't want to like make somebody do that and then like it puts their gun off balance or something, or it throws their game off, and they can blame them losing on my GoPro being there. I feel so bad.
I thought about recording. I just didn't want to do it. First of all, just kind of, I don't know, some weird rule or something like that. Just didn't want anyone to complain about it. I also didn't want to like incidentally get killed by it or something.
Yeah, having your GoPro on the side of your gun, if it's like decently far out the right side of your gun, and you do a peek anything right-handed, you can see your flashing red light of your GoPro first before they even see your face or your gun. They can see you much easier.
At the same time, though, if you peek left side, it's just you're looking at a wall most of the time.
Yeah.
So, and then with everybody screaming and everything, it's just kind of going to be loud.
I see your normally don't respond to chat, but Ashway asked a good question. Why didn't they cast her on top of Embassy 1? You know that we should do that. I like that idea. The problem is that we need to have a connection for this year. We needed to have whatever computer was streaming on Twitch needed to be the one that was running ice. We tried a bunch of different ways to get around that thing because obviously that computer isn't the strongest thing. And we're just gonna get it ended up being laggy. I was showing people the what is it? The CPU usage on the computer is just maxed out 100% the whole time. Is getting absolutely annihilated. Having it split between 2 computers would be the absolutely best thing. I think I got an idea for next year. I got to talk about it more, and I want to try streaming more things like that for this next season.
Yeah, this was the first tournament I had attended, so I don't know about how any past tournaments were set up or anything like that. So
okay.
Yeah, the Twitch setups for that is not my expertise.
I can see so much. There's so much extra points you can get first for getting the stream like that working. I already know this sport is so awesome and absolutely worth getting any bit of coverage you can on it. The more streams we can do with it, the more interesting and the bigger that we can get this sport to be. There's just infinite value when it comes to streaming it. So I want to try. Maybe if we get leagues working up again this season, we can try it there, or any other chance I can get to shoutcast anything before the tournament. That'd be really cool.
Absolutely. I would love to see something more like the tournament, just kind of more often, but for now there's not really a place to. We get one time a year to kind of vent the competitiveness of the field.
Yeah, and we have like a month or so beforehand we can start to see kind of like the pressure building up, where like more and more players start to competitively play against each other. You can kind of see some of the emotions and the beef and the new like developments in the meta show up just around then. But then right after the tournament, everyone's like, dude, enough of that. I don't want to see any more of it. But I want to see more of it, man. I want to see more. I want to see this sport turn from laser tag to competitive laser tag. It's gonna be hype.
Absolutely, for sure. I would like to see it a lot. Especially the other thing I would like to see, kind of like way down the road from it, would be just more fields.
More fields. I want to see this sport get big.
I know. I want to play more. I want to play places that aren't Baghdad.
Yeah. Obviously, if you guys know, you can go to Michigan, like one lake away, and you can play at that one. I encourage everyone to go ahead and try that field. I haven't tried it yet, but it's similar in like the running and it plays as close as we can get right now for the fields that are available to us. Definitely try that place out. It's in a reasonable drive. What's the drive on that one?
It's just under 6 hours. It's actually a little bit further away from Missouri, which is I'm probably going to go there in about a month.
Okay, try that place out and then report back to the iCombat Waukesha community and tell us how good event. Donnie, have you played any of the laser tag places? You have, right?
No. Well, I haven't played any other iCombat places. Me and Chief used to play at Laser Tag Pro, and the guns were a lot similar to the new Valkyries, and that place was nice. We really enjoyed that and all the game modes that they had. But switching over here, I don't think we could see ourselves going back.
How old were you when you started at Laser Tag Pro? Do you remember that?
We were pretty young. We were playing for a couple of years. I'd say probably around 13
Oh
is when we
man,
started.
small lads.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to see more of this topic talking about different fields in a different one. Right now, I kind of want to focus more on the tournament. But I do want to recommend that if you guys want to talk about other laser tag places, Milkman and Chief have been to this place called Laser Tag Pro, and it's still open, right?
Yeah, they got a new facility in Milwaukee or Waukesha area.
It still exists. And there's more laser tag to be experienced in the laser tag community, places to try. Obviously, Light Combat's still the best, right?
Oh, always.
All right. Next up, we have the replacements for the tournament. We had 3 replacements for those. We had Lyrical Woe for Shea Money, Hans for Who Is That, and Aquila for My Command. Anyone have any notes on those? Want to talk about it?
I think the most notable one would probably be Aquila and Hans are the two biggest ones. I think Aquila for Micah Man was the one that made the biggest impact on the fields. And that was just because of Micah Man's play style added, I think, just so much to Jailer's team.
Good change there. So one thing I wanted to mention there was the Hans for Who Is That. There was a lot of talking about that one because it was like the first big replacement they wanted to do, and I think they nailed that one to try and get it right. Right? They had like the 2 players that kind of play similarly and hit it with it, but then like an hour before the tournament's about to start, we hear Aquila dropped out. Oh, great! We got another one to do, right?
Yeah,
And this is what we get. We get Aquila for My Command.
he called at like 350-ish.
350.
And we were just lucky enough that Micah Man had come to watch, but we were able to get him to play.
Yeah, I get him to play. I was like, "You're playing now, Micah. Get in there." I want to talk to him about how his feelings were ever just getting thrown in like that. The other options for replacement were Micah Man, obviously, Scumbag Lenny, Shane Money, who already got replaced for Lyrical Woe, Specs, of course, Who Is That, who got to play, and a player called Rockin'. Have you heard of Rockin'?
He is rank 3.
Oh, what?
He has played 1 session before.
Oh,
That's impressive.
here at Waukesha or somewhere else?
Yeah, at Waukesha. So no, I haven't heard of him.
Whoa.
Wasn't Stinger also one of those?
Yes, Stinger was also, I believe, on that list.
Oh yeah, this is an old list. There were some players that also got to be replacements as well. Stinger, I think, would have been a really good choice too. I think he wanted to go see a movie or something, or maybe there were. Oh no, here's the story, right? So the replacement went out for one player on Chiefs team, frick, and then Cam got it was for Hans. So Hans for Cam, and then Cam, or Who Is That is his username. He was getting he needed. I think he wanted to drop out as well because there's something wrong with like health wise. He needed to get out of it. I think it was just asthma. That's like honorable for him to say he has to drop out for asthma. But ruling wise, the tournament had already started. We can't do another swap, and they're really close to trying to get Stinger to replace him too. But right when he walked up to Jeremy, he said, "No, can't do it. The tournament's already started. You're stuck with what you got, or you're down to 4 people." So we could have, in like a parallel universe, we could have saw Stinger on that playing in the tournament as well.
Yeah, and to be fair, that was like 2 missions in. So it wasn't like at the very beginning before we had actually started. It was actually during the tournament that he wanted to swap out.
Oh,
So there's like an actual valid reason why there was no swap out.
yeah. I'm not like complaining about the decision I'm making there. It's just what I saw happen. Anything else you guys want to talk about replacements wise?
Nah, it's just 3 players switching out for 3 other players. One of them was expected, and then the rest were kind of a day of thing.
Yeah, that's what you're gonna get. 55 players. I maybe expected to see more replacements happening, but it was only 3. But there were a lot of injuries that happened before and after.
Yes, there certainly were. Players were definitely playing pretty hard out there, and a couple players were playing a little too hard on the Friday before. So we saw the Owl, Airgain, Irwin, all got injured on the Friday right before the tournament.
That's cool.
So that was all of them played, and all of them did fairly well, especially considered how their injuries were. But
I think I got to talk to all the players about it, but the only one I really got to see was Airgain's. Given I was a front counter, but I got to doctor him afterwards. Right, he was playing pretty hard in it, and I think he fell somewhere and he messed up his knee pretty hard. And we bandaged it up pretty well, and he's walking on it fine. He played the tournament pretty well. He was just a little bit slower, but generally, I think Airgain played astonishingly well still.
I got there Saturday morning around like 9:30, and I was hearing people talk about how Owl got like hurt the day before, and that he like hurt his ankle or his foot. I was like, oh, that sucks. And then I saw him walking in, and he was just limping, not putting any pressure on his foot at all. I was like, oh boy.
Oh no. There was another story, something like that, where so Airgain has a brother named Creek Legacy, and Creek Legacy tore his ACL like a couple weeks ago. Creek Legacy is not playing in tournament, right? He was just there to support his brother. We heard that Airgain had hurt himself, and we see Creek Legacy and Airgain walk at the same time. But all you can see, really, from you just glimpse or squint at it, is you could see Creek Legacy on crutches, and it made Airgain look like he was on crutches. It's like, oh, I only thought he hurt himself a little bit, and this dude's walking in on crutches. What? Oh no! Like, no, don't worry. I just scraped my knee a little bit. That's my brother. He's the one that messed up this shit real bad.
Yeah, it was like a minor panic I had. I was like, you're not playing. You can't play in that.
Oh no! And even during the tournament, we still got some mess arounds. I think there was one time where Vito messed up his chin, and Flock Forrester ran into Doki, or Doki ran into Flock Forrester. One of the two happened.
Yeah, and I've heard Tom or Gamoto was talking about his shin, and I know Zach got banged up a little bit with his knee. So there was plenty of people playing pretty hard out there for sure, and got the war wounds to prove it.
Yeah, the stakes aren't that incredibly high, but I'm glad everyone's playing with passion when they're out there.
To be honest with you, I kind of dismiss the minor injuries during the tournament, 'cause they're all playing hard, and it's kind of a second thought. The Friday, man, I don't know why any of you guys are playing on Friday. That was just dumb.
We don't have a whole lot of time for them to practice, and everyone's playing in those.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things like with me was, I work full time, and so like I don't usually have Fridays off. And you guys changed the field on the first, so like I got just a couple of days to go and like find other spots or look at what you guys actually changed. And so I took that Friday off. I mean, I played a couple of sessions during Friday, but they were just very chill, relaxed sessions. I did not go hard. I was not sprinting around. I was just trying to take it as easy as possible.
Take absolutely no chances when playing in these sessions beforehand. I think the big value in those sessions is if you haven't seen a player play before, you can really kind of watch them and see how they play. You can watch these players that come from Atlantic Beach, like 72, 11, and Camden, for example, and be like, what are you guys going to do? How do you guys play? What can I do to abuse that?
Yeah, for sure. And I think those are the only players I could really see a reasoning for playing on that Friday, especially like the 10:30, is to just get more experience on the field. But for a bunch of the people that have played before, and like the field had been set up the week before as well, and Lord knows that all the tournament players played a lot the week before. I don't think I think it's foolish to play on that Friday, and there were certainly some players that kind of met with an unfortunate injury because of it.
Now I don't have to feel bad about selling public session slots to new players. This whole previous week, I felt so bad whenever I saw like a new player walk into like the session where all you guys are playing your hearts out, and you're getting so passionate about it, and they're getting absolutely spawn camped the daylights out of themselves because there's just so many of you guys. Now we can finally go back to what's maybe a little bit normal. We might be up in the air a little bit because more players are going to get impassioned by the tournament and want to play more, and they're going to stick around and have like a lot more regulars around for a bit. I expect we're going to see an awesome post-tournament season.
Oh, I know. I sold a spot of like 6 new players like the Saturday before the tournament. I sold like 6 new players into one of the sessions, and I looked at it, and there's like 24 people already in it, and they took the last few spots, and all 24 other players were regulars. And I went up to you and I was like, oh, I just feel like I robbed these poor fools of their money. They're about to get destroyed and they don't even know it.
First of all, their team has to get split up, right? They come in with 6 people, right? And they have to get split up because there's no way we're taking that chance. We got to make sure it's balanced in every way. Unless they really wanted it, right? Could we have done that? Could we have kept them all together?
No.
Yeah. First of all, their team gets split up, and then they get put into that session with all you crazy people. Poor guy's not getting any fun out of it. Well, it was good that we had some sessions that were private sessions where only you guys are in it. But it also sucked that those were at like 9:30 in the morning.
Yeah, and kind of looking forward to this next weekend. This Saturday, we are actually already sold out for the 1:30 and 3, but that's for a kind of a private thing for the Carroll School. But the 4:30 is almost full as well, and I believe there's only 4 regulars in that. I think we're up to 25 players in there with only 4 regulars.
Not anymore. Zach has just signed up.
He is actually. He's already signed up.
Oh, wow. I'm good at this.
I think that's also something to point out is I know that there's a lot of people that, after this tournament, they don't plan on playing as much or, they're going to slow down. Me being one of those people, just, money-wise and, I need more time on my hands. But I know Erwin was saying that he's not going to be coming around as much. And there's a decent chunk of people that I think that we won't see for a bit.
Oh, yeah. A change in the waters, definitely. Some players are going to get impassioned to play more, and some of them be like, or look at their wallet afterwards and be like, man, this thing's a lot thinner than it used to be. Oh, geez.
I've dumped thousands of dollars into this game just to get lashed.
I know Big Sweaty / Simpson said he wants to play more. I said, I know I want to play more. I saw the way you guys are playing, and I'm like, man, I want to get better at this. I don't think I'm going to play in the tournament next year either, because I still have really a lot of fun with casting this. But man, what if I got good, though? See, like, exactly. Like, people are going to want to really get good at it because they could see you guys are playing out there.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But kind of pushing forward into the meat of the tournament, we're gonna kind of talk about each of the game modes and share some experiences, especially from me and Donnie's perspective on the field, as well as James from the casting's perspective and getting to watch a lot of the games. Starting off with Team Deathmatch. I know when I was playing Team Deathmatch, I felt horrible. I did just so bad in the Team Deathmatches.
Oh no! Are you willing to go into more detail about that?
Yeah, I think the majority of it was I hadn't played a tournament before, so the speed of the game I was unfamiliar with. People were moving around a lot slower than I expected, and they were not playing the way I expected them to. But the other big thing about it was the light show we had. I know we were experiencing some problems with ice, but the light show we were using, I don't think I have ever played with before.
Oh yeah. So we had to. There's a couple of things with that. First of all, we wanted to try and use the normal game mode, whatever the light settings for the particular game mode, and we want to try to use that one. So the team deathmatch one is the one we tried to play over and over again. But eventually, around like halfway through the tournament, ice crashes, or I think crashes about after every single game mode or two, Will said, and need to boot it back up and then turn back on all the CCMs and then reconnect the lighting controller. And if it doesn't reconnect, he has to go straight to dim. So I realized halfway through is that, okay, I'm just going to be on one CCM. You guys don't know what that means, but basically it's just like it like halts the power of the session. Everyone still gets to play, right? But like responding to ice isn't going to be as strong. And then the lighting controller wouldn't turn back on. And that basically means just that the lights aren't going to be like, you don't have a lot of these same options for lighting, and then you can just only do like some very minimal things, if anything at all. So he just leaves it off and goes on all lights dim. It means like obviously the lights are dimmer. That's what we had for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, it was significantly darker out there than I had expected it to be, and that it's kind of excuses to say that was messing me up, but it was at least a little bit. Nothing crazy, but it was a shock to me when I got out there how dark it was on the field.
Yeah, well, any change like that, especially to the field you're spending so much time on, can be like, well, you hesitate for a second. It may seem like no Johns, but I think in this case it's absolutely true. Lighting changes, fundamental team like positioning for any props and stuff like that. Anything that changes on the field is going to mess you guys up in any case. You have anything like that, Milkman?
I didn't notice the lighting problem. The speed of the game, on the other hand, I definitely noticed. Everything felt a lot slower. For my specific PDM, it was me versus Skulltaker's team, and I was just having a problem like finding people, like because I still played most of my normal spots, but it just people weren't pushing the same ways, because there was only 5 people, you just weren't getting into as many gunfights, and I ended up just I don't know, I got kind of bored, and we were down 6 points, so I just kind of started rushing around looking for a fight.
Did that work out for you, or did it end up being your downfall there?
No, actually, I think that it did really help out. There was a couple of people that were watching from the sidelines, and they said that me pushing around and killing Airvan in Embassy, apparently he was putting in some work, and me just running around killing him and then hopping out, like apparently that did change it a little bit.
A lot of players were definitely playing back, and then there are some teams captains that even put in their strategy to play more aggressively, and that could throw them off and do some things.
for sure.
All right.
Hey.
Real quick, I know Jeremy had something he wanted to share about a possible summer thing, so he just popped into the call. Jeremy, what do you got for me?
Hey guys, thanks. Well, first of all, thanks for keep doing this. I think it's cool. I think it's putting out a lot of good information for all of our players, and it's just kind of a nice thing you guys are doing. Second, so the O'Fallon guys are looking to do a summer shootout sometime, probably spring or summertime. So I know, like you guys were saying, Donnie saying, I was there myself when I was doing the tournaments. And you play your butt off before a tournament, you spend all this money. It's like, okay, now I got to look at my bank account for that month and go, holy crap, I need to back off a little bit.
Yeah.
But been there plenty of times myself. So, but no, I think it'll be kind of cool, when we start get past the winter months and we get our core group of guys in there and getting them all ramped back up, and maybe we make a group trip end of winter down to O'Fallon just to see the field and get an understanding of the layout. It's pretty cool. It's got some pretty tricky things on it. But I think doing a summer shootout with them is going to be pretty cool. So hopefully, everybody that's listening will be up for it. I'm pretty sure the three of you guys would be. I know several other players would be, but I think it'd be kind of nice for us to make a showing down there. It did turn out that a bunch of them wanted to come up, but the management never put out the document that I sent them. So they didn't find out till the night of registration about the tournament, and only Be Ready was on his way back from Mexico. That's why he was like the only one to sign up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was kind of disappointed when I found that out. So I'll definitely make sure I communicate better with those guys. And now that they're in touch with us more, it'll be kind of nice. We'll get the word out to them more. Vic is going to try next year to get some guys from New Jersey. They were talking a lot of smack, and not meanly, just like, yeah, I bet we would do good and everything. I was like, yeah, you get on the right team, the teams do good. I mean, it's all about the team you land on. That's the beauty of the way we run it. I think it makes it kind of fair across the board, no matter where you're from.
I absolutely
So,
agree with that one. So the thing is about the O'Fallon field. Have you played it before?
yep. It's
Um,
basically a rectangle with a lot of upstairs. It has a full upstairs that edges the whole field, and it has one bridge that goes across. And something that I think I've told Alex this before, but it's really cool. At the end of the hallways, they've painted a shadow on the wall. So every time you pop your corner thinking, okay, I got some pink. Oh, there went your accuracy for sniper because you shot a shadow. So it's actually pretty. It's a military theme. It's got a bunch of props on the field. As you've heard, and I know Gilmore's heard, several people don't like. They say we play too fast. I'm like, well, we're not even the fastest field, but I guess they really slow their players down on that field. And it wasn't like that when I played it, and when me and the boys went and played it. But supposedly they've slowed them down a lot the way they play there. So just food for thought if anybody decides to go down there.
don't walk into their field and expect to play the exact same way you play
No.
there. We want to, if you're going to go down there, make a good show for us. Make us look
Oh yeah, that's
good,
the.
right?
I think our players that travel do that well. Like we took that huge group of us to Michigan the first time. I've gone out to Atlantic Beach with Zach. I've done, we did the new Charlotte field. We helped them set up. Leanne and Damien went to help Kansas City get going. Every time we talk and work with other fields, I think we are all very good ambassadors for our field and for the sport itself. I think we all we care greatly about it and deeply about it. And I think that shows when we talk to these other fields and we go to these other fields. And I think that is really something to be said about our players at our field.
You walk in and be a humble student. Don't walk in and be like, I'm
Exactly.
from Waukesha. I've been doing this for the longest. My field's been the oldest. Like, you're going to walk
Yeah, it
in there, you're
doesn't
going to get
matter. It's a
demolished.
different field. Yep, it's gonna be a different field. You're not gonna walk on and beat people on their own field normally.
Yeah. You want to make, yeah, that's absolutely correct. Thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate
Yeah,
you
no worries.
coming in. I
I just
know.
wanted to kind of throw that out there. Hopefully, everybody's listening. We'll get something going for that in the springtime and see what they say and go from there. And thank you guys again for keeping this up. Hopefully, we can keep it going and keep growing it.
Yeah, thanks, man. All right.
Absolutely. Thanks for
All right,
popping
guys.
in.
We'll catch up with you guys this weekend.
Later.
Bye.
Jeremy Watson, everybody. Thanks. That's really awesome. We're going to come on real quick for that.
Yeah.
Any little bits of information we can get that's more into the inner rings of that, that's really awesome to see.
Yeah, I had Be Ready on my team, and I knew he sent kind of a message afterwards talking about how he was going to try and put something together like that for a tournament down in O'Fallon. So it's cool that that's at least something they're considering down there, and it's not just kind of an idea that's going to get overlooked. So I'm happy for the possibility of that for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Where were we? TDM?
I
I think we're just finishing up TDM.
Yeah, there was some highlights of that particular game mode. There was one game I wanted to mention. It was a Chiefs game. I forget who he was playing against. The
pretty sure it was Woodland's team.
Woodlands team versus Chiefs team. I remember watching that game and I was like, this is a highlight for this particular match. I don't want, what do you call them? Sets? So if you want to call one game a game, you want to call two games like playing against each other a match, and you call like the whole TDM thing a set. I don't know. I'm making up terminology on the spot. The point is that I saw in the first game, Woodland's team had a lead, like a deficit of 6, right? And then afterwards, it would I believe that Chiefs team, he knew he needed to get 6 points ahead, and like they were just playing super aggressive. But Woodland's team was playing really back because they knew they already had a lead. Don't give any extra points away for no reason. But Chiefs team still managed to win by I believe like 1 point, not even tied it up, and managed to get that win off of it. And I heard this the entire stands were erupting with excitement. His dad was doing the blood for the blood god thing. They were doing it back and forth like that. It was a really awesome team deathmatch to watch.
And Komodo did really well that game for sure. That was his biggest highlight probably of the tournament.
Yeah, Chief was telling me about Komodo's like aggressiveness. Like this guy he's crazy. Like we still lost, but holy cow, Komodo, a force to be reckoned with this upcoming season.
Talking to Chief afterwards, he was very glad that he picked Komodo. Like, Komodo doesn't play too much, but absolute sleeper pick right there. Like, he definitely put in his part.
Yeah, he's coming. He hasn't been playing a whole lot, and then he only started playing recently. And man, is he picked it up and picked it up hard. Very good for him. Speaking of Woodlands team, I noticed that he has this bit where he accidentally dead talks too much because he gets overly excited, and he ended up putting duct tape over his mouth. I thought that was really funny. Any of you guys see that one?
I
did not see that.
He asked me for duct tape, and I was going to ask why, but I said, nah, I'll trust him this one time. So I gave him the duct tape, and then I figured out what he was using it for, and I thought that was really funny.
He put
That's
duct tape over his mouth so he wouldn't dead talk on accident. And then I heard him yelling during the match anyway, so I guess he got tired of that bit and pulled the tape off because he wanted to do call-outs for his team.
Moving on to our next game mode, Rush was the next one we played. I know my team had a really close round of Rush. We played against Skulltaker's team, who was actually their second round of Rush, because they had there's a few teams that played certain game modes twice and didn't play one of the game modes, but Skulltaker's team played Rush twice and didn't play, I think it was Hell's Bells.
Good for them.
Yeah. And my team got 2 people to shoot that last tube, so we had at the end of the game 2 people shot the final tube. And with I think over 90 seconds remaining, Skulltaker's team had 1 person hit that tube. So we had just under 2 minutes to defend the tube from one of those 4 players hitting it, and we were able to actually pull that off. We were communicating really well. It was really fun to be out there and playing like that.
Your team definitely had the most communication I could hear from the field. I think Luis was like your main guy, no?
He was, and for a lot of the game modes, he was even he pulled through and just did a lot of that, especially in like the Rush. But a lot of those game modes, I even designated him as like our communication guy. Like UBL, he was just outside of Mansion, so he was our communication guy. Hell's Bells when we were on the Breach Door side, he was our communication guy, and he did just so. He was loud. He was definitely communicating. His calls were perfect. All of that was exactly what I had wanted it to be.
I could pick up what you guys were doing. We'll get to UBL when we get to it, but I heard a lot of I was able to figure out that Luis was the caller. He would yell for one person's name, and all they have to do is say "yep" something back, So like he was just basically checking to see if they died yet. And then if Luis could determine that someone died, he could either do something about it or just know that someone's in the room or were able to kill that person when they were killed. And
Yeah.
well,
And we were kind of trying to use something like that for especially games like TDM or Sniper, where there's not so much of an objective to go for, but just trying to move around on the field. And we would use it so like having Luis be downstairs or somewhere like that. When you would respawn, you would shout something out, and then people were supposed to shout back out if they were alive or not, and then you could kind of tell where you were capable of going without just dying immediately, and that way we were able to kind of stay in the game without getting spawn camped as much.
that's good. You can be able to tell where everyone was at when you're respawning, so maybe you can make a choice of where direction you're going to see where it needs help. Even. Anything else you wanted to add for Rush specifically?
My team of Rush, or my game of Rush, personally, like we were really surprised. So talking to the German beforehand, he was doing a little bit of smack talking, jokingly around, but he's like, yeah, no, you guys aren't gonna make it to the first tube. And turns out that their game plan for that was they were not gonna defend that first tube whatsoever. And it is kind of a good strat just because you only got 4 or 5 people, so most of the time chances are like everybody's gonna hit that first tube. And so we ended up getting that first tube. But then having a couple of people that were a little bit slower on my team, the second tube and third tube we knew were gonna be pretty hard to get. The second tube we got still decently quick, and then all that I remember is I looked up at the scoreboard, said that one person hit that third tube, and then I was able to go and flank in through ghetto. I got it, and then one of my biggest highlights for Rush was just DeSeal was hiding out in ghetto, and I was able to see him through a very, very small crack through the window in Market and killed him. And then it was just Feldonk just sprinted past me and was able to get that last hit on the tube.
Oh, nice. I love stuff like that. A little bit of, like around the tournament is where you're going to get a lot of the team play stuff. And that's my favorite part about this sport is the team play. You're actually not, you don't even need to communicate each other. You can just be able to tell that I was able to affect this, which ended up making this happen because I did that.
Yeah.
Really awesome stuff.
All right, moving on to our next game mode here. Mission UBL. It was another one that I had another pretty good run in. Another game mode where, like you said, we were communicating pretty well. And I had my attacking plans were I guess a full year in the making at this point because I was trying to something I had planned for the year before, but I didn't get to execute it. So this year I got to execute it, and it worked really, really well. And that was when we were the attacking team. It's gonna be kind of hard to explain without my visual, which I should have prepared, but I did not. So you go without it. Was designated as going all the way through ghetto and then going through their spawn to kind of sneak behind them, and then we had Quicks going through the middle of the market out of the center building, trying to get into mansion there, and then Luis, Be Ready, and Rogue were all in a 3-man rotation. So one of them would be our player 1 player, then player 2, and then player 3. Player 1's objective was to kind of move from room to room throughout mansion and try and take as many rooms as he could. Player 2 would then kind of anchor in the furthest room that he had gotten to and try and hold that room while player 3 was watching back. Once player 1 would die, then player 2 would become player 1, player 3 would become player 2, and then player 1 would go respawn and become player 3, and it would rotate like that, kind of like a leapfrog sort of thing. But it would kind of guarantee that any amount of progress we made through mansion was saved, so that we would kind of pinch them in further and further into mansion.
Oh, that's very good. You're saving your progress every single step of the way, and you're going frontwards through the mansion like that. You had to work your way with all the rooms. You didn't even try and go for a flank strategy. A lot of teams were doing that.
I was the only player on the flank. Well, that's not true. Jake or Quicks was flanking from mid market, so it's not like a full flank, but it was about a halfway flank, and then I was going all the way through their spawn trying to flank from behind as well.
Oh. Yeah, I think your UBL strategy is definitely something that's like, wow, and I want to see more of this happen in even our public sessions, because it seems like once everyone gets a grasp of what's going on, everyone can kind of pull it off together, and you can develop the meta of UBL a little bit more. Oh, that was just for offense, though. What'd you do for defense?
Defense, we had Rogue up top, so he was sitting just kind of a quick U-turn around from the staircase, so he was able to watch from patio room and try and either give us callouts when someone was entering mansion, or just try and prevent them from entering from that front room. Luis was just outside of mansion as our designated callout guy, and I was just outside of the front room of mansion, kind of watching the sweep, as well as able to peek my way in case Be Ready or Quicks died. But Be Ready and Quicks were the ones that we had stuck in the mansion, and my god, did Be Ready do really, really well that mission, because I think he died like twice. And he was just an unpassable wall in that room.
Very good. Donnie, how was your UBL? Did you end up playing that game or no?
Yeah, I played UBL. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
Oh.
So we started off attacking, and we were able to get in and move the body. I was the first one. I got in, grabbed the body. I mean, I dragged it like it was still like half on the bed, half on the floor, so not that far. And then as time went on, we ended up getting it into that third room, which at that point I thought that was already just decently good. I was like, all right, like we actually have a good chance. Like, all that we have to do is just keep them off that body. And then, excuse me, when we were defending, I went up top to, look down the stairs, try to keep them off of that front side. And then also, like, I could call out if I see a flank. And just out of nowhere, just the body was gone. And it turns out that Simpson, or Big Sweaty, he came in from the bottom of market, sprinted across, got in the room, grabbed the body, and just they were gone.
I heard he ran in the first time and he got absolutely eviscerated. And then he realized he had to go respawn and come like charging through. Again, on his second try, he managed to grab it and pull it through. I mean, it was a highlight for the tournament. It sucks that it happened to you, but I'm glad it happened in general, so we have something to talk about for it. Anything interesting like that needs to be seen and heard.
No, I completely agree. Like, although, I don't want to lose, but there was a lot of moments that just other team, like, I can say wholeheartedly, like, they were doing really good.
Yeah, that's nice. Especially coming from a player like Simpson who doesn't play a whole lot. He's just the de facto ice operator, and good to see him play and have his own moment in the tournament. That's awesome. I want to see more players get big highlights like that. It's good to hear that Be Ready's putting his work in, and the Dummy and Rogue Racer are doing awesome work. All the players from Atlantic Beach are coming in and putting in some big moments. Very, very good. Anything more that we can give these lesser known regulars their own moments. Next up, we have the great the great Hell's Bells. Straight up, I don't want to see this game more in the next tournament.
Yeah, it's certainly not a strong suit for me, but I think there's a few things we could definitely take away from Hell's Bells, at least tournament wise. And from my experience, I suppose it's that breach door side. Holy cow! There's a lot of bell ringing you can do from breach door side.
Yeah, Prowler and I were talking about that up in the booth. We were just like, there's clearly like the breach door side is just the side you win Hell's Bells from, and then when you guys have to swap sides, it's just a matter of catching up to the amount of bell ringing that's always going to happen from breach door side. If you manage to get a lead in Hell's Bells from the garage side, you've just won that match. It's really disgusting how much stronger the breach door side is than garage and Hell's Bells.
Yeah, and the other thing that was actually really interesting was the amount of points that were scored from directly underneath the bell, at least in my game.
Oh yeah. Well, I thought you had just quicks hang up in the
Oh, I
in the
did.
breach
I
side.
did. Yeah, he sat in the breach door room and shot it for like 5 minutes. But we also had Rogue Racer and Luis in like the center of market just drilling it. Or at least Rogue was directly underneath the bell, and he got at least a few clips into it, at least like 5 clips into the bell from directly underneath it.
Whoa. Playing Hell's Bells the way it's meant to be played.
And that's how that was Woodland's team entire strategy too. Is every single one of them when they were on breach door side would just run from spawn to the bell, spawn bell, spawn bell. They didn't have almost anybody shooting the bell from an angle. It was all just directly underneath it.
Oh. Yeah, I remember them doing pretty okay in that one too.
Yeah, they did. They pulled ahead by just under 100 points after the first round, and then my team, after the side switch, my team got them by just under 300. So we ended up pulling it back.
Big comebacks like that, no matter like for the first, like any particular match, that first game of whatever teams ends up losing, it's like they immediately become the underdog and Prowler and Ice Hearts, and then we just like we're rooting for that team no matter what, if they're the winner or the loser. Well, only if they're the loser, no matter what team they are. If they lost that first game, for the rest of the match, they're our favorite because we want to see them come back. It's really awesome what happens too.
That was the game that, without a doubt, I got the most tired in was the second round of Hell's Bells because there was just we couldn't let up even a little bit. We couldn't give them a chance to come back. So it was just get out, die, respawn, get back out there, die, respawn, get back out there as quickly as possible, and it was just so taxing.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And I saw that for Rush as well. I'll go back to that. There was a strategy I saw coming from Deathwish where it was just the de facto respawner people, the people that managed to shoot the bell in the first place. And then they would just run and use their invincibility 3 seconds to run straight from their spawn all the way to the market one, which is totally doable, but I didn't think I'd see it get just like utilized so heavily. Part of me wants to push that 2 back a little bit further so you can't do that anymore. I want to see the game mode get played, not used like that.
Yeah, I agree. I had a strategy that I didn't end up implementing that was similar to that for supply grab, but I didn't use it, so whatever.
3 seconds just utilization?
No, we were gonna have one player just holding down the respawner while there was someone kind of just leaning out of the room with their back to the respawner, just shooting down the street. So they were an unkillable just machine.
That's kind of funny, I think.
Yeah, I think I don't like the idea of it, but it was something we were going to try, but we didn't end up doing it.
Well, if we're in a tournament, everything's on the table, right? You got to utilize everything we can here.
Right. Donnie, how was your Hell's Bells?
So we ended up going up against Doki and his team, and already just insanely good team. It's not that we couldn't see ourselves winning it, but we knew that it would definitely be a struggle, and a struggle it was. They ended up winning the first one by 100 or 200 points, and then that second one they ended up winning too by another 100, 200 points, and it was a struggle. They had a lot of people shooting the bell, and then if anybody wasn't shooting the bell, it was just them trying to keep other people off of it. And with Doki sprinting around, it was definitely a hassle just trying to stay on that.
Your match, I very much remember a minute into the match, there was less than 50 bell dings total between the teams, and
wow, yeah, it was really balanced.
Yeah, it was like 25 to 21 or something like that, and I was really ready for like a super low scoring game. It didn't end up being like that, but I thought the first minute was funny how there was just not anyone shooting the bell at the beginning.
Yeah, I probably noticed that as well. I mean, definitely talked about it, but lost of the sense of time. I'm so furious about that. All my poor commentating work was just ruined. Pulling people over was really great, but I can't utilize any of it, or barely any of it.
Other than that, it was just we were just trying to keep them off of it that second round. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Jimbo.
That's all part of it. Anything else for Hell's Bells, guys?
Nah, and I think that moves us on to so we're out of the preliminaries then. So after those 4 game modes, there was a cut to the top 6. After the cut to the top 6, there was 2 teams that stood 4-0, and that was Death Wish 2.0 and the Merciless Executioners, who then received a bye. Meanwhile, the other 4 teams, which were the Dire Killers, the Immortals, which was Kyle's team, Royalty, which was my team, and do you remember who the Dire Killers played in Supply Grab? Oh no, it was Donnie's team. It was Donnie's team.
Look at that.
It was the
He's right
Milkman.
there.
Yeah, it was Donnie. All right, so that was our top 6. The Dire Killers ended up playing the Milkers, and Immortal played Royalty. Donnie, how did your round of Supply Grab end up?
It was very quick. Glideman ended up going and getting 3 crates right off the bat, and then they got the last 2, and after that it was pretty much just game over. We had to get 5 crates within 30 seconds. That second round they didn't really go for any crates. It was just, everybody spray down the street and just keep us off.
Oh,
And
man.
so we had a little bit of a game plan. Like, I tried getting people to go inside of mansion, just to, get crates and bring them back to spawn. And like, I think I got 2 both times, like both rounds. And after that, it was game. It went by really quick.
Yeah, that's the thing about that game. That's all the game modes were chosen randomly, and believe it or not, Supply Grab was one of the games that was chosen randomly.
That is not true.
It's so fast.
They were not chosen randomly, so I don't know about that. But
In order, no.
What do you mean?
So the order of the game modes were chosen randomly, right?
No,
They weren't. Oh,
Nope.
Please.
I wasn't a part of the discussion for what the order was. I believe Supply Grab was one of the preliminaries last year, but because we didn't have the preliminaries cut to a top 4 last year rather than a top 6, they just decided on one of the games to be the first elimination round, and that just ended up being Supply Grab. I know Hell's Bells used to be switched with Sniper last year, so Hell's Bells was the semifinals last year rather than just a preliminary round, and Sniper was a preliminary round. So I wasn't a part of the discussion. I don't know why they would have been chosen differently. I like this year's a lot better than last year, but I didn't play last year.
Yeah, I'm okay with whatever the game modes were. I knew that we had like X tournament game modes we wanted to play. So TDM, Rush, UBL, Hell's Bells, Supply Grab, Sniper, Espionage, and Juggernaut. And then the order of them was just determined via dice. And I think it worked out pretty well. I thought it was just random. News to me.
No,
Cool.
there was some method to the madness out there. But back to Supply Grab. My team ended up playing Kyle's team in Supply Grab, and we were on the attacking team first. So when you're on breach door, well, I say attacking team. Both teams, I guess, are attacking, but breach door side will win more often than not. So when you're on breach door side, you should expect to get the crates as fast as you can, and then embassy side, you should probably try and defend a little bit more. Was kind of the plan we had going into it, and it ended up playing out exactly like that. Where for round 1, we ended up winning in about 45 seconds. We didn't do anything extraordinary to do so. I had one good rush at around the 40-second mark where I killed 4 of them, and then Luis and Rogue were able to grab the last 2 crates and put that away. And then on the defense side, it was all just about we didn't go for crates at all because we had 45 seconds we had to stall them out for, so we decided the only crates we were going to even attempt to grab were the crates that were close to their spawn, which I don't think we ended up grabbing any of them.
Oh.
I ran upstairs, and I was upstairs right by the bridge that overlooks the crates, and I just crouched down, shot through that bridge, put down 7 of them, died, and then as I was walking downstairs, the timer had ended. So it was just all about holding them off for those 7 seconds. And I believe they actually got either 2 or 3 crates, so they got pretty close too. So it was a high intensity game, but both of them, for my rounds and Donnie's rounds, were they were fast. Things went quickly.
Yeah, and move from one really, really fast game type to the slowest paced and obviously it's still 5 minutes. The sniper next.
Yeah, so the sniper games where my team Royalty had to play against Sniper's team, the Merciless Executioners, and then it was Fern's team, the Dire Killers, against Deathwish, which was Doki's team. Doki's team ended up coming over the Dire Killers Fern team, sorry. And then in my match of Sniper against Sniper, we ended up pulling ahead the first round, which was to my surprise because I went like 3-5, walked back to spawn totally expecting that we had lost because I went like 3-5 and I felt like I missed half my shots, so I did really bad. But my team ended up carrying me through that first round. We won by like 20 points, so it was super close, and then we got kind of crushed the second round.
Yeah, well, sometimes your teams, I've noticed that some of these players are just kind of pull all their juice out right now, and it's really cool to watch them do it. People were shining out of nowhere that normally wouldn't do any shining in comparison to everyone else in these public sessions, but man, they're freaking doing it now. Awesome.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch Doki's team play Sniper at all because I was gearing up the whole time. Did either of you happen to see anything of note happen on the field?
From what game, sorry?
Sniper.
No, I'm sorry. Which teams are playing against each other?
The Dire Killers against Deathwish 2.0.
Yep, I saw that one. I was paying attention to it from the stands, and it was a lot of So like those players were Doki's from Madison, right? And the entirety of the Ferns team, or majority besides Glideman, right? Glideman and who's the other player? Look at it real quick. They're all from Madison, right? I mean, look, living on Mac 20, Glideman, and Shea Money in that case. So there's two players from Waukesha here, and then Fern, Mac, and No Nut or Kendall now. They're all from Madison, and they all had like this beef going on between the field. Whenever Mac would kill Doki and then would yell something at Doki, and then Doki would respond and yell something back, and then there was yelling between No Nut and Doki whenever Kendall would kill Doki from pretty close. There was like this duel on the street that we got to see back and forth between Mac and Doki and Kendall and Doki, of them just like bullying each other down the street. It was cool to see it, and they would every single time they would just shoot like one bullet. They still have 2,900 bullets, but they do this flex reload as quickly as possible. Either try and get in the other team's head or just show off to the crowd. It was funny. They would do it so quickly in a game when you just didn't need to do it.
Yeah,
A lot of trying to get into each other's heads I noticed around this time. People were yelling at each other like, man, this tournament stuff's really easy. Or, man, I can't believe you just got absolutely annihilated there. Buddy, get... bad words. Don't want to use those.
Yeah, it's not the attitude I took toward going into it, but I certainly saw a lot of it out on the field and outside of the field.
The game was high tension there. How was yours, Donnie? Did you play this one?
No, I got knocked out at supply grab. But no, it was just, I noticed that too. A lot of just trying to get in everybody's heads. And I mean, there are some people that like, once you get into their head, it does make it a little bit easier. But either way, like me and my team and most of the other teams that I went against, it was just like, I wished them good luck. Like I don't want to see anybody actually lose. And on top of that, I don't want to lose. So it was just everybody tried to be nice to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Around this time, though, it's starting to get a change in emotions. Go ahead.
Yeah, I come from a background of doing a lot of sports, and they were always like that too. Or it's kind of always sportsmanship is kind of the big thing of it. So there's never any of the getting people's heads, or never a lot of smack talk or anything like that. It's outside of your own team. So I guess that's kind of was my approach for the whole not the whole podcast, the whole tournament as well. Was just kind of try and take losing as the best I could, and always shake the other team's captain's hand and everything like that. So
yeah, it's not something I want to see where this poor sportsmanship is happening, but I could see the advantage it gives. Right, I don't think we're gonna try and stop it, but damn it, guys, be cool, man. You're gonna push people away from the sport if you do it, and it's gonna make yourself look bad. And then when you end up getting losing when you're already doing a lot of smack talking, you're gonna make looking yourself really, really bad.
All right, and that brings us into the final game of Juggernaut between Death Wish 2.0 and the Merciless Executioners.
Well, there's still that highlight for espionage, no? And you're won by 1 second.
Oh, that's right. I forgot Espionage is on this list. Yeah, we played Espionage.
Yeah, it was there. It was like you expected to get that far, and then like, oh man, just play espionage.
Yeah, I didn't
There's
have
not a whole lot of strategy for that game besides get there first and try and secure it, right?
Yeah,
Maybe-
I didn't even write out a game plan for Espionage because first of all, I'm not making a plan for trying to get third place, but
as far as you can.
I also
But
just didn't care.
well, do you want to for that game? Like you want to tell the story of what happened there? I saw Rogue Racer did really good there.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you mean him fumbling with the bag in our spawn, yeah,
He still got it.
yeah, we probably could have won that like another 5 seconds earlier, but he was like fumbling with it in his hands, juggling it, trying to get it into the back. Meanwhile, this is all we were delivering it into embassy side spawn, and we needed to get it in there by like 42 seconds, and we were coming into embassy side at like 37 seconds or something like that. And I died right before putting the bag in the box. Quicks died and Rogue Racer died, and then we respawned. And then we all died to Mac, who was sitting basically right outside of our spawn, just gunning us down. So all three of us respawned. I ran up to Mac to try and shoot him, and then I realized my gun didn't click, but I had actually never respawned, and I'm now just standing in front of him, blocking his shot, while Rogue Racer fumbles the bag into the spawn.
Oh.
So, oops, sorry, Mac.
I was accidentally actually blocking on accident.
Yeah.
To get for 1 second. It wasn't so ice was lagging. I noticed, and I checked the times like officially on the ice, and it wasn't by 1 second. It was about like 3 or 4 seconds still. And then you just squeaked that one in. I guess it wasn't the loss that like as badly, but it's still a win for you guys, and it's still a loss for them.
Yeah. So that was espionage. I don't care. It's espionage.
Okay, espionage. Juggernaut's the big thing that we wanted to focus on. I managed to get footage of the final, but before that we had what teams were they?
What?
There was 2 games of was it just Doki's team versus Sniper's team for Juggernaut, or would you play any other match?
It's just them.
Okay. Yeah, we had that going up, and then we had, I believe it was Doki's team on defense first versus Zach on offense.
Yep.
I don't remember the timing for it exactly. But
Zach had killed the Juggernaut in just under 3 minutes.
When Zach killed the Juggernaut in that time, the stands absolutely erupted. It was the most yelling I've seen from them the whole time. Zach kills their Juggernaut, and it's just like you can't hear anything anymore. Everyone is yelling and screaming for Zach. Only to be followed up by the win from Deathwish's team, or for Deathwish when they come around and kill the Juggernaut on the following game, and just even more yelling from the previous time. Being inside the stands for that final was really something awesome.
Yeah, I decided to. I'm not a big crowd person, so I went downstairs and I watched from the barricade, but it kind of ended the way I thought it would, which is unfortunate because I was really rooting for Zach. He knocked me out of the tournament, so I was rooting for the team that beat me. But it kind of ended the way I had foreseen it.
Yeah, this team is pretty strong, and Doki was getting in everyone's heads the whole time. It was an effective thing. Yeah. Congratulations to Deathwish 2.0 for winning that one. I think first and second place was really awesome to watch. Tournament all around, some big highlights from every single one of you guys. I cannot wait for next year any longer. I want it to be here already so we can do it again. Anything else you guys want to add for the tournament stuff, or have we finally completed our tournament arc?
I'm ready to
I
get
think
on
that's
with
it for
it.
the tournament. Yeah.
Yep. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the old 7-day leaderboard here. So just like every week, here is how the leaderboard ends up shaking for this week. From number 1 down to 15, we have Woodland taking our number 1 spot this week with 4 under 1,000 kills. So he's real close to 1,000 kills for a week, which is a lot. Then moving on to number 2, we have Sniper, then Mac, Doki, IG72, and IG11. Strika, Specs, Live for the Moment, Cam DVN, TheMilkMan, Guidman, Unicorn Rage, Assaway, and at our number 15 spot is Big Sweaty.
Yeah. Mac and Doki. Mac jumps onto the board, coming up in 4th place. Or Doki comes up onto the board, coming up to 4th place. And Mac jumps from 12th to 3rd for this week. 72 stays on the board, but he drops down 2 places to 5th. IG11 looks like wasn't on the board last week because he wasn't freaking here, right? Now he's going to be here for this week, and he's jumped on to 6th place. Awesome. Strika hasn't been here in a while, come back just for the practice and hops onto the board as well, coming in at 7th. Specs, I believe, was still on the board last week. Drops down a couple places down to 8th from 5th. Live for the Moment, hopping up 2 places from the 11th place to 9th. Let me see. Camden comes out of nowhere and slaps himself right in the 10th place spot.
Yes,
Good for him. I love these Atlantic Beach players.
The 5th Atlantic Beach player, the one that I think it was his first time playing on the field, was the tournament day.
But he has played a lot at his previous field, and he's Eagle 11, it looks like.
Yep.
Donnie, that's you. Look at you go.
Yeah, I play sometimes.
He's there, and he's in 11th. Very good. He plays sometimes. Guidman, hopping in. He wasn't there last week, but he's freaking here now. Unicorn Rage, looks like he wasn't on the list last week, and now he's here right now. And Ashway and Big Sweaty, honestly, weren't on the list last week, but they're here now. Big Sweaty taking 15th spot. I'm proud of him for that. Same with, well, actually, this is Ashway's other account. Let me see if I got that wrong. No, looks like she's gotten here onto this account, and it wasn't on last week either. So awesome. Awesome for both of them squeaking in there with 402 and 490.
One funny thing to note, looking at the other stats, so looking at KDR kills per minute, there's one player that stands out a lot as far as KDR does, and that's Specs. The one player on the top 15 that's not in the tournament is above everybody else by at least 1.5. So
Yeah.
congrats to Specs for this week's highest KDR.
Imagine if Specs got to play in the tournament. On what spot would they even take? The hoops we'd have to jump through to get this guy playing into it. What person would have to drop out, do you think, even to get this guy playing?
It would have to be a first-round pick.
Yeah,
Or
first-round pick
captain.
or even one of the captains to get him to play.
With spec stats, I do want to point out he played a couple on Sunday, and he specifically told me not to go Sunday because there wasn't going to be a lot of regulars there. So he played the 130, got a 4.0 KD with 176 kills. And then the other big one was he played the 730 session, I believe that was. Yeah, the 730 with a 6.44 KD.
Holy Mick. Fuck.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But at the same time, there were not that many regulars in those sessions.
I'm just playing to play, right? Like,
oh, yeah.
I mean, if you want to go specifically for numbers, that's how you do it. You weasel your way into sessions that don't have a lot of other regulars in it, and you do just demolish the new players. That's where you want to go for it.
Still impressive nonetheless, though.
Yeah, and it's not like he's a bad player either. Like he plays against regulars, and he still does incredibly well doing it. He just happened to weasel himself into these sessions, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
He has the backup for it. Anyways, anything else you guys want to add, or is that a wrap?
All right. So moving forward, we are out of the tournament preparation. So we are off the tournament hype. So we're probably going to see a lot of less regulars coming into these sessions, which means we might start seeing some of my favorite sessions, which are things like the old good 10 on 10. Oh boy, am I hoping to play some more 10-on-10s.
Some smaller sessions where you can do some more moving around, and there's more dynamic playing instead of just, no movement, 16-on-16 sessions. You guys gotta try these smaller sessions. You haven't played them before. They're hype.
Or 16-on-16 with too much movement, you scoundrels. I don't want any of you fools running into me.
I think that's gonna be our wrap for this week, ladies and gentlemen. 1:15.
Yeah. Thank you all for joining us for episode 4 of the Point Gremlin podcast. As the same for every week, if you ever have anything you would like us to talk about, or possibly think about popping onto the show like Donnie did this week, go ahead and just talk to either me or James. We'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have, or maybe talk about some stuff on air. But besides that, that'll be a wrap. Thank you all for tuning in.
Thank you very much, guys. See you next week.
Come in here, we win games. That's what we do. We come in here, we put on a show for the fans. Right. The fans is what look, we come in here, we do what we gotta do, man. We do what we gotta do. You know what it is.